Hello and welcome to the tutorial on Jupyter Notebook. By the end of this tutorial, you will be able to list the advantages of using Jupyter Notebook as an IDE and also download Jupyter Notebook for Windows or Mac and set up the Jupyter environment. In the previous tutorial, we learned that Python is a programming language which is used for building machine learning models. But only Python won't be enough. We need an IDE to manage all our code and files so that the work becomes easy. Now, what is an IDE? An IDE, that is Integrated Development Environment, is a software suite that consolidates the basic tools that developers need to write and test a software. Let's take the example of cooking to understand this better. When we want to cook a dish, we go to the kitchen. Why? Because kitchen is the place where all the equipments which we need to cook the dish, that is utensils, gas stoves and ingredients of the dish, are available at one place. In a similar manner, to write a program, we need an IDE that consolidates the basic programming tools such as code editor, compiler and debugger. Some of the most common IDEs to use Python for machine learning are Jupyter Notebook, Anaconda Spider, PyCharm, Windows IDE. These IDEs are useful for managing large collection of Python files. In this training, we would be installing Jupyter Notebook and will be using it throughout. Jupyter Notebook, previously known as IPython Notebook, is one of the IDEs which is preferred by most of the data scientists as it is versatile, shareable, and has a visualization ability in the same window. It is an open source web application which allows users to create and share codes and documents easily. As the name Notebook suggests, it is a collection of codes, documents, and visualizations at one place which becomes easily manageable for the users. In a nutshell, it is a one-stop shop for everything, like data cleaning, data visualization, building and training machine learning models, and many other uses. One more advantage is the codes are written in independent cells and are executed individually. This helps the data scientist to execute a specific code without having to execute the entire code. The minimum system configuration required for installing Jupyter Notebook includes Core i5 with 2.59 GHz or higher, RAM memory of 8 GB, disk space of minimum 2 to 3 GB, Windows 8 or higher operating system. It can be installed using two ways. One is using Anaconda, the other is downloading Python and upgrading it to pip3 and then installing Jupyter Notebook. We will be installing Jupyter Notebook using Anaconda as the other approach is a bit complicated and one might find it difficult to install the software. So let's install Jupyter Notebook. Open your browser and navigate to www.anaconda.com/download. The link is also given in the helper text below. There are two versions of Anaconda available, namely Anaconda 3, which is for Python 3.7 version, and Anaconda 2, which is for Python 2.7 version. The latest version of Anaconda is 5.3.1. It is available for Windows, Mac and Linux platforms. Now select and download the latest version of Python, that is Python 3.7. The software is available for 32-bit and 64-bit Windows, so select accordingly. Ideally, it would be better to select 64-bit if your system supports, otherwise 32-bit is fine. For Mac users, select the 64-bit graphical installer. The file will take some time to download as it is 633 MB for 64-bit system and 634 MB for Mac users. Save the installation file in your system and let it get downloaded. Once the download is complete, double-click the file and proceed with the next buttons. It won't ask for much information and you can go ahead with installation with the next prompts. If you want, you can change the installation location using the installation wizard. Remember to check the Add Anaconda to the Path Environment option when you see it in the wizard. Once the installation is complete, click on Anaconda Navigator icon to start Anaconda. You're all set to run the program. Once Anaconda opens, it displays a page where we get a lot of options in the launch menu. Launch Jupyter Notebook. The Jupyter Notebook opens up using your default browser with URL localhost:8888/tree. We can open Jupyter Notebook directly from the Start menu also without opening Anaconda. This is an easier and more common way to open Jupyter Notebook, and this is what we would be using throughout the training whenever we say open Jupyter Notebook. So that's it in this tutorial. In the next tutorial, we will explore more about the Jupyter Notebook. See you then.